News and the Record, and a copy of which was posted on the bulletin board in the Bergen County Justice Center and Administration Building, 1 Bergen County Plaza, Hackensack, New Jersey, and filed with the office of the Bergen County Clerk.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Chairwoman Amoroso.
Here.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan. Here. Freeholder Tinelli.
Here.
Freeholder Voss.
Here.
Freeholder Zur is absent. Chairwoman Ortiz.
Here. Evidence of a quorum is present. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Freeholder Voss, would you like to lead us?
Please join me in honoring America. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for 3 moments of silence. We remember Bergen County business owner. We remember Bergen County business owner and a decorated Navy veteran of World War II, Joseph Lucky Brammer. Lucky was an active member of multiple organizations throughout Bergen County, having strong ties to American Legion Post 876 in River Edge, American Legion Post 170 in Rochelle Park, and working with the Mounted Patrol Division of the Bergen County Sheriff's Office. For 65 years, Lucky held the title of Master Mason of Euclid Lodge 136 in Hasbrook Heights, and later was awarded the high honor of being a recipient of the Distinguished White Apron. Joseph Brammer passed on Monday, March 11th, at the age of 94, a loss that was felt deeply throughout a multitude of Bergen County communities. We also remember Army veteran Alan William Sugarman. Sugarman dedicated his life to education in all forms, from being an entrance examiner for Boston University to becoming the principal at New York junior and senior high schools. Mr. Sugarman also had memberships in a multitude of educational organizations. From 1980 until 2000, Bergen County got to witness and be part of Alan Sugarman's passion and dedication for the youth and their education when he served at Fort Lee Superintendent. On Saturday, March 16th, Alan William Sugarman passed away at the age of 94. His passing will not only be remembered and honored by Bergen County, but by every community throughout the country he has graced with his service. Last Thursday in Christchurch, New Zealand, 50 people were murdered and 39 more were seriously injured, some critically, in a mass shooting at 2 mosques during Friday prayer. These losses were senseless and driven by hate. While there is no specific or credible threat towards mosques or other houses of worship in Bergen County, we understand that many people are feeling sadness, fear, and shock. We thank the Bergen County Sheriff's Department for increased patrols around houses of worship at this time, and as always, we stand with our community against hate and violence. Thank you. Our next on-the-road meeting this year will be held in Little Ferry on Wednesday, April 3rd at 7 p.m. at Borough Hall, Council Chambers, 215, 217 Liberty Street. The 4:30 p.m. work session that day will be held as usual in the Calabrese Caucus Room at 1 Bergen County Plaza. Will the clerk read the minutes to be accepted?
Minutes to be accepted are February 27th, 2019, work session, all present.
May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Move the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved. Second.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is open to the public. We will now have the hearing of the general public with a 3-minute time limit in effect in accordance with Bergen County Freeholder bylaws. The board attorney will keep the time. When the time of the speaker expires, the board attorney will announce the time has expired. Please fill out the slip of paper with your name, address, and general topic you wish to speak about. Karen Rosen.
She's not speaking.
She's very tired. She's
Oh, she doesn't want to speak?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Randy Glover. Hello.
Freeholders. Can keep it quick, light, and airy. This This was a letter I sent to Michelle DLG earlier today. As you might not or might know, we had a small gala here in the building Friday evening, and basically it was due to Michelle and Freeholder Gantz, their constant assistance. So I just sent them a letter saying, what a success. The Bergen County community has now enjoyed its second annual Bergen County Film Festival and Gala. The event is getting rave reviews. On behalf of Chart Community Development Corporation Board of Directors, we want to extend our heartfelt thank you to your executive staff and its commitment to making the event so successful. It was the vision of the Board of Directors and the producers to celebrate, entertain, and provide networking forum for our filmmakers, award winners, and community to have a pleasant and comfortable space to celebrate. Your generous contribution helped to make that vision a reality. By helping to offset the cost of holding the gala in the beautiful County Executive Building, we were able to deliver a premium experience to all who attended. As we continue to grow, please know that partnerships with our elected officials are vital to the success of our vision and our community. You are truly appreciated. Thank you again. And that's on my behalf. I'm the chairman. My corporate counsel is Christopher Bennett. My general counsel is William McGuggins. Secretary is Erica Williams. A member, Reverend George Mays IV of Trinity. And then the producers, Deborah Keeling Geddes, Sherry Pullum Robinson, Dr. Funleo E. Wood Menzies, and Erica Williams Glover. So thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes.
Sal Moretti.
Haven't seen him in a while. He's had some problems.
Salvatore Moretti, Alpine Drive, Paramus. I'd like to bring your attention to the 2018 DVD entitled The Catcher Was a Spy. It is about Morris Berg, a pharmacist's son from Newark. He was originally from the Ukraine. In 1890, he graduated from Barringer High School, Princeton College, and Columbia Law School. Graduating just before the 1929 Depression, he was a catcher for the Boston Red Sox. Visiting Japan with Babe Ruth, he enlisted for civilian service during World War II. He was hired as a spy by William Donovan of the OSS, Office of Special Services. His mission was to check on the development by the German scientists of the construction of a nuclear bomb. This brought him to Zurich, Switzerland, and an interview with Werner Heisenberg. His story is reviewed somewhat in my 1956 screenplay, Forbidden Planet, and a recent PowerPoint presentation I delivered in Hasbrook Heights. I offered Paramus the presentation some time ago. Since we are located next to a media capital, it is worth your attention. The title of it is Three Branches, One Tree of Knowledge. It's 1:37, and I guess I will sign off at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moretti. Paula Rogovan.
Hello, Paula Rogovan, Teaneck, New Jersey. I'm here because, first I want to thank you for your comments about the tragedy in New Zealand. Thank you. I'm here because there's a climate emergency. At the Freeholders workshop meeting last week, I was told that passing a resolution would just be ornamental. I was also told by some freeholders this is not a Bergen County problem. We should take our concerns to the Hudson County freeholders. This was upsetting to me because I'm holding this document dating back to 2017 that shows a confidentiality agreement between the Bergen County Utilities Authority and the North Bergen Liberty Generating Company, dealing with pipes and a pumping station, a 30-year agreement to deal with the wastewater that would be used to cool the power plant. As the Bergen County Utilities Authority is comprised of commissioners who are appointed by the county executive with the consent of the freeholders. I'm wondering how many of you know about that confidentiality agreement, because to tell us that it's not a concern of Bergen County is quite shocking to me and upsetting to me. Last week, I explained that while the frack gas power plant, Meadowlands Power Plant, would be built in North Bergen, it'd be adjacent to Ridgefield. Some of you sang with me, "The answer, my friends, is blown in the wind. The answer is blown in the wind." And that's because the pollutants from that power plant, the carbon monoxide, the ammonia, the methane, the sulfur dioxide, the ozone, other toxins, would cause heart and lung disease and cancers. It would blow into the lungs of people in Hudson, Bergen, and beyond. Each of us, it's not ornamental, each of us has a role to play to stop the frack gas power plant. Some sign petitions, some make phone calls, 49 towns passed resolutions. We've had educational forums and rallies and billboards and marches and statements from elected officials. If the Bergen County freeholders stood up, as so many others of us have done already, your voice, along with thousands of residents, would move the governor to stop this dangerous project. It's not ornamental. It's just how democracy works. All of us need to work together.
Thank you. Richard Grant.
My name is Richard Grant. I'm a resident of Hackensack. Thing I do is administer a Facebook group called Climate Action and Clean Energy Update, and I've spent several years reading articles and analyses posted at websites for energy sector professionals. I'm urging you to pass the resolution against the North Bergen Liberty Generating Project because not only it's a typical project that is going to prevent resources from going to renewable energy and energy storage and energy efficiency, it's going to have a life of maybe 30, 40 years. And if you remember, we're only half a week away from 1.4 million children around the world realizing that they're going to be outliving many of us, and it's everything we do is going to make a little bit difference in keeping that global warming down. Back on our doorstep, the developer of the North Bergen Liberty Generating Project has created a website, and it states that the project is intended to replace energy capacity after Indian Point Nuclear Power Plant is closed. There's a problem with that because the website also states that the plant's construction would take 3 years and it would generate 1,200 megawatts of electricity. But if you go back and read the news articles in 2017, after the announcement was made about the closure, it's obvious that New York State government was planning years in advance to deal with losing 2,000 megawatts. They didn't want a couple of years of rolling blackouts. That's how you lose your job as an elected official. You make people very angry. So what they did, and it's in these news articles, they issued a statement. The state is fully prepared to replace the power generated by the plant at an inexorable course with transmission upgrades, efficiency measures, and other resources ready to come online by 2021 April, which is when Indian Point is actually going to close. Also, the New York State's grid operator issued a report in 2017 stating that there were 3 gas-fired power plants in New York State under construction with a total capacity of 1,800 megawatts that would be available by 2021. And it even named them: Bayonne Energy Center 2, CPV Valley Energy Center, and Cricket Valley Energy Center. There's also a timing concern. The developers of this project are saying it's going to take 3 years to construct. Well, if the groundbreaking were to begin tomorrow, March 20th, 2019, the plant would not go online until 1 year, almost 1 year after Indian Point closes. And more realistically, if the developer were able to obtain all of the needed permits and approvals by no earlier than the second half of 2020, the plant would not go online until more than 2 years after Indian Point closed. Can the developer
3
be
minutes, Mr.
unaware of
Grant.
this?
3
Sir?
minutes. Your time is expired.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Chairwoman, if I may, with the court reporter, will include the entirety of Mr. Grant's statement within the record.
Ken Dolsky.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I would like to go back to the 316 meeting that was held here. There were a number of statements made about the Meadowlands Power Plant that were somewhat misleading. So I'd like to address a few of them, not to debate them, but to provide some further context for your decision on supporting or opposing the Meadowlands Power Plant. The first statement was that the Meadowlands Power Plant will be the cleanest power generating facility ever built in the Northeast. Okay, I don't know about the veracity of the statement, maybe you do, but regardless of the veracity of the statement, Diamond Energy, the builder, has told the DEP that this plant will emit the following pollutants annually. This is the plant builder's statement. 2.5 to 3.5 million metric tons of CO2, 423 metric tons every year of carbon monoxide, which is toxic and linked to heart disease, 305 metric tons of nitrous oxides, a key ingredient in ozone that causes acid rain, affects respiratory systems, and premature death, 376 tons of particulate matter that diminish lung capacity, cause asthma, and premature death, 262 metric tons of ammonia, which reacts with nitrogen oxides to form nitric acid, damages respiratory systems, and causes respiratory failure, 73 to 1,000 metric tons of methane, which causes irregular heartbeat and sudden death, and 52 metric tons of sulfur oxides, which is toxic and lowers resistance to heart and lung disease. And there's another long list of others that I won't even bother to go into. And this level of emissions that will come out of this plant will go on every year for 30 to 40 years. Now, the second comment that I'd like to address is one that the freeholders, I believe, made that said that you've been in contact with the governor's office and the DEP, and that the DEP is aware of our concerns, and that they're conducting a thorough review. And I believe you said that the health and safety of constituents in Bergen County is your paramount concern, but if the plant endangers the residents of Bergen County, there are major enforceable measures that are available that can be pursued beyond seeking a ceremonial resolution. So first, it's wonderful to hear that the health and safety of Bergen County constituents is your paramount concern. I think we all agree on that. We have met with the DEP a couple of times. The DEP will do its job within the limits of what it's empowered to do, and it cannot go beyond those limits. We met twice with them, and what we've learned is, first, they have very limited power to deny permits based on greenhouse gases. And they have told us they will not deny an air permit for this plant based on the greenhouse gas emissions, even though it has the potential to increase greenhouse gases in New Jersey overall by over 3%. They have said this plant will exceed EPA limits on ozone, but will be allowed to exceed that limit as long as they buy ozone credits.
3 minutes, Mr. Dolsky.
That's 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Anyway.
Kim, the same request with that statement, that it would be in the record in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dolsky. Cassandra Worthington.
Hi, freeholders. My name is Cassandra Worthington, Worthington. Dear freeholders, you sought office in order to protect the health and best interest of Bergen County residents. Likewise, the Bergen County Utilities Authority, or BCUA, has committed to serve Bergen County residents by preventing pollution and protecting our natural resources. I would like to read the first line in the BCUA's mission. The BCUA's mission is to provide wastewater treatment and solid waste management services for the citizens of Bergen County. Since 2017, the BCUA has been corresponding with North Bergen Liberty Generating about the shared partnership for the pipeline that will be built to provide wastewater to cool down the proposed power plant. The BCUA accepted and agreed to a letter of intent to supply treated effluent wastewater or gray water to NBLG. The proposal to provide these services to a commercial entity in Hudson County is inconsistent with the Bergen County Utilities Authority mission. Moreover, the majority of this wastewater will evaporate during the cooling process, which could release toxic chemicals like algicides, fungicides, and anti-corrosives into our air and surrounding water sources. How much of this wastewater will go into the air? Of the 7 million gallons that will be provided from the BCUA to the power plant, only 2 million will be returned to Little Ferry to be processed again. 7 million to 2 million. Other NBLG documents project only even more wastewater, could be even more than 8.6 million gallons a day. On March 6th, you said the power plant is not within Bergen County's jurisdiction. I hope that as you learn about the air pollution that will affect Bergen County residents and the Bergen County money that is being exchanged for work on this pipeline to cool down the power plant, you will see that there's a lot you can do within your jurisdiction. For instance, on September 20th, 2018, the BCUA requested work from the power plant company for the Force Main project for a cost of $266,000. This money for the initial consulting is just a fraction of the cost of the pipe that will go to the Little Ferry, from Little Ferry to the power plant. In addition to the BCUA's comments to share costs in construction of the sewer main, BCUA is also discounting wastewater to cool down the power plant. All of this for energy that will go to New York City and pollute Bergen County. We urge you to do what's right for the county and pass a resolution to oppose the power plant. Thank you. Yeah.
Ted Glick.
Good evening. I am, as I said a couple weeks ago, I'm the president of 350 New Jersey. I don't think I mentioned that I'm also the coordinator of a group called Roseland Against the Compressor Station, which has been working in Essex County since 2013, first to prevent, unfortunately we couldn't do that, to prevent a gas compressor station from being built. Now, for the last year and a half, we have been working to prevent the more than doubling of the capacity of this gas compressor station in Roseland, which has similarities to a power plant in that there's a lot of pollution that goes into the air, leakage. With the compressor stations, there's added risk of fire and explosion. The reason I'm raising that is that last week there was a very successful press conference right next to this existing compressor station at the Essex County Environmental Center. And the county executive, Joe DiVincenzo, as well as 3 of the freeholders spoke out at that press conference, calling upon the state DEP to prevent this expansion of this compressor station. So, to me, those were good models for what county executives and freeholders should do. So would urge you to consider perhaps emulating what those freeholders did and take action against this power plant, this proposed power plant. I also do want to reference what was mentioned earlier, the young people who last Friday, all over the world, 125 countries, over 2,000 specific actions. Some of them, I'm sure, I saw them in Morristown, some of them maybe 8 or 9 years old, demonstrated calling for adults to take the climate crisis seriously and to act as if it's an emergency, because it is. That's what the scientists are saying. That's what the government report of our own federal government talked about the impacts. The U.S. military has done analyses of what a security threat climate change is. Take a stand. Do what's right. Do what I'm sure for many of you, I hope all of you, your conscience tells you what's right, what's the right thing to do, and please do it soon. The sooner you take action, the sooner this project will be defeated, and that's a good thing for Bergen County and our threatened climate. Thank you.
Hannah Kahn. I'm sorry, Hannah, what town are you from?
I'm from Madison, but I was here last week representing my grandmother from Edgewater. Cohn, K-O-H-N. Do you want my first name? Hannah, H-A-N-N-A-H. Good evening, Bergen County Freeholders, and thank you for having us here tonight. I came, as I just mentioned, I came to you last meeting on behalf of my grandmother, who lives in Edgewater, in opposition to the Meadowlands power plant and in support of the resolution opposing that plant. I left absolutely appalled at the sexist verbal harassment I and many other women received from a number of people present at that meeting. Particularly while I was standing at the back of the room, I heard women being sexually objectified and demeaned. It frightened me, and it also made me angry. The discursive violence of those comments made me think about the ways women specifically will be affected by the power plant if it's built. Unfortunately, issues that women face specifically often go under the radar in our society, and it's important for me to highlight some of them. There are many angles on that topic to explore, but tonight I'm going to focus on just one: women's reproductive health. The pollutants from this plant do not acknowledge county boundaries. Bergen County's proximity to Hudson County will mean that, without a doubt, pollutants will affect women in your constituency too. There won't be enough time for me to go into all the detail this topic deserves, so I hope you will accept these studies that I have printed out, which explain all of what I'm about to say in far more detail. North Bergen Liberty Generating submitted their estimates of the emissions the power plant will put into our atmosphere to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Many of the pollutants they cite do specific violence to women's reproductive systems. The power plant is expected to emit 185.6 tons of particulate matter, equal to or less than 2.5 micrometers in diameter a year. But research shows that prenatal exposure to this particulate matter increases the likelihood of preterm birth and accounts for an estimated 3.32% of preterm births nationally, putting both infants and mothers at risk. In this way, this pollutant will do violence to the reproductive health of women in Bergen County. The power plant is expected to emit 305.3 tons of nitrogen-based emissions, 52.4 tons of sulfur dioxide, and 423.3 tons of carbon monoxide each year. But research, including a study analyzing data from New Jersey specifically, demonstrates that higher levels of these pollutants significantly increase the odds of stillbirths. In this way, these pollutants will do violence to the reproductive health of women in Bergen County. In addition to increasing the odds of stillbirth, nitrogen oxide has been shown. Thank you, and I hope you'll accept both my notes and the studies that I brought with me.
Your notes will be in the record in their entirety, and if you leave your additional materials with Storm to your left, they'll be given to the freeholders after the meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lori Ludner.
Ludmer, Laurie, L-A-U-R-I-E.
Lori, what town are you from? I'm sorry.
Teaneck.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, so my name is Laurie Ludmer. I'm from Teaneck. I am affiliated with the Food and Water Watch and other various organizations. But my main affiliation is as a human being, as a woman, as a mother, and a grandmother, and a community member. And I can't really I'm not a scientist, but I am a citizen. And I know that the freeholders, that your job and your mission is to serve and protect. And that's why I'm standing here, because I feel very strongly that the people of Bergen County, as well as Hudson County, as well as any people, old ladies, young ladies, children, babies, have the right to be protected, have the right to have decent health, which is hard enough in 2019 with everything else that goes on. But that this Meadowlands, this proposed Meadowlands gas plant would harm people. And if you know, I'm not going to give you the statistics. You've heard them already. I'm not going to give you the arguments. You've heard them already. What I'm going to say is for you to have courage as representatives. That's also your mission, to stand up and have courage to serve and protect, not just some of the people, not just some unions, and everybody's entitled to have a decent job, to serve and protect the people of the county. Now, before I came here, I was looking up a number of quotes, and I was looking up quotes about courage, because that's what I'm asking you to have as representatives, to have courage. But I was also looking up, and no offense, stupidity. This is what Stephen Hawking said. We are in danger of destroying ourselves by our greed and stupidity. We cannot remain looking inwards at ourselves on a small and increasingly polluted planet. It's up to you. And, you know, I don't want to feel like I'm beholden, but we all are beholden. And you have, your job is to put the resolution to oppose the power plant, put it on your next agenda.
3 minutes, Ms. Ludman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carlos Edmonds.
Spell it. Yeah, Carlos, K-A-R-L-O-S. Hi. So I think you've noticed a theme so far tonight with a number of different people representing far more than can actually be present here tonight. We want the power plant for the Meadowlands to be a resolution against it. I'm coming from Paramus. There was a resolution passed there. That's a model that you could follow. We're asking you to pass this resolution. It's very much within your authority to do so. The organization which I'm specifically from is known as Extinction Rebellion. And so I wanted to echo some themes and things that were already mentioned. This is the extinction symbol. And it's now very prevalent because we're undergoing the 6th mass extinction. Unlike the 5th mass extinction, which we all know is the dinosaur mass extinction caused by an asteroid, this mass extinction is caused by humans. And a power plant is very much part of the process, especially a fracking gas fueled power plant. That is very much part of the problem. And some voices that aren't here that really need to be heard, and hopefully you are aware of what happened, because it's going to keep happening each Friday and it's going to grow and grow. They will not go extinct. The children are saying, they're urging you all to take action for their lives. It's nothing short of saving them or choosing to give a genocide to the future generations. I'm looking at all your eyes, and I want you to think about all your nieces and nephews, your grandchildren, and what this means to them, and whether you are fighting for them or passing on a legacy of continuing the crisis that we're now in. So I'm urging you all to to feel this, to feel the reality. It's not a joke. Science is showing that the extinction will include humans if we fail to act in the next 11 years. So once again, I just want to reiterate, I urge you to put a resolution to pose the Meadowland Power Plant on your agenda for next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
EDMONDS. Thank you.
Nick Lento.
Nick Lento, Cliffside Park. When I was here last week, one of the freeholders asked me, where does Loretta Weinberg stand on this? How come I haven't heard from her? And I just want to take a few seconds to quote Loretta Weinberg, for whom we all have great respect and admiration. She's one of I think she's the best senator in the state legislature. New Jersey stands at a crossroads. As a state, we've committed to making our grid 100% renewable by 2050. We've agreed to reduce our carbon emissions under RGGI. Earlier this year, we joined the United States Climate Alliance, joining our other states. I'm so sorry. Okay, bottom line. I'll email you her whole statement. I'll get it to you. The bottom line when she talks about this power plant is bad for the Meadowlands and a bad deal for New Jersey. Senator Weinberg and Assemblyman Johnson are with you. Let's stop this now. She added, this plant is a boondoggle that will worsen our air quality and pollute the Meadowlands without providing any power to New Jersey residents. I am glad so many towns, now it's up to 50, have signed resolutions against this project. There is no reason, my emphasis, to build new fossil fuel plants in New Jersey. This plant is a step in the wrong direction. Now, on the other page, I was going to give you more statistics, but you've heard all this stuff. On the basis of actual facts and numbers and toxicity, it's a case closed. The 300 or 400 people actively involved in this movement are canaries in the coal mine. They're people that are highly informed and motivated. No one's paying them to do this, unlike at the last meeting where someone said that the environmentalists are spending $1 billion to have their way. I wish we had $1 billion to spend. This would be a completely different state or country. Now, what I want to say is this. People are appealing to your sense of morality, your common human decency, because you all have families that will be here long after you and I are gone, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. This plant is like smoking cigarettes. No one cigarette kills anybody, but the cumulative effect of all these toxins in the atmosphere, and this thing is going to be 0.8 miles away from the existing plant in Ridgefield. That's right on the borderline. The air doesn't care about borders. These are your people. They voted for you. You should care about them. As far as I'm concerned, the money that Diamond Chemical is putting into this, and the money that Mitsubishi, a Japanese company, is putting into this to hire lobbyists or to make contributions, to use levers of power to, in my opinion, my humble opinion, to buy machine politicians who are used to ruling their town like it's their private fiefdom. Sorry. The health and safety of millions of people who live in this region is more important than whether or not Nicholas Sacco gets his pet project passed. And I hate to say it, that's what it boils down to. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you listen to us and not the rich people.
Matt Smith.
Thank you and good evening, freeholders. My name is Matt Smith. I'm a senior organizer with Food and Water Watch. I'm again here on behalf of our nearly 7,000 members here in Bergen County to urge the freeholders to schedule the resolution against the power plant and to pass it at the next public meeting of the freeholders. I don't want to recycle any points that have already been made. I do just want to thank the freeholders for responding now to what was quite a hostile environment at the last public meeting that was full of intimidation, full of fear tactics, and certainly not conducive to a democratic, inclusive public participation process. So I noticed that there was public safety personnel here in the meeting from the beginning, from the start this evening, and so I want to thank the freeholders for that action. And yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I want to say this evening is that I, too, was inspired by the U.S. Youth Climate Strike that happened last Friday that saw millions of students across the world, thousands of which here in the U.S. and many hundred in New Jersey, walk out of their classrooms to protest and call on governments at all levels to do everything within their power to prevent runaway climate catastrophe that threatens their future. When we're organizing on this power plant, we're talking to parents at the door, and we're talking to students and young people. It's clear, right? And there is no debate. This is a bad idea. It would harm their health. It jeopardizes and threatens their very future. And so it's very clear. I think that's resembled by the 49 towns who have now passed resolutions against the project, by the 5 legislators who have come out against it. But we realize that there are technical issues to be addressed, and so we are having a public forum on Thursday evening that we invite all of our freeholders to attend. It's at the Ridgefield Community Center at 7 p.m. We would love for our elected representatives, more of our elected representatives from the county level, to join the local and state representatives who will be at that meeting to continue to educate themselves, but also to use their voices, which are very important in protecting all of the people of Bergen County, but particularly the children who will be impacted first and worst by the Meadowlands Power Plant. So again, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Can you just tell me the name of the company you represent? What was the name of the company you represent?
The organization is Food and Water Watch.
So you're paid by them or not?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
May I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you have something to say?
I just wanted to say that we received the email. I want to thank whoever sent the email to us identifying what happened at the last meeting. I'm sure my colleagues share my disappointment. We're up here. We didn't hear a lot of what was going on when it was brought to our attention. We did have 2 sheriff's officers here last meeting, and we circulated them back out after we had taken a break and somebody alerted us to it. So I want to thank you for letting us know. We take it very seriously. We want to leave it open. We've had many, many rooms filled with people to bring their opinions up to us, and we've never had that happen before. So I just want you, we did have 2 sheriff's officers here. It's just we weren't notified until midway through. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Thank you. Anyone else? All good? Did you want to address?
Chairwoman, just with regard to the comments that were made as to the Bergen County Utilities Authority, yes, there are appointments that are made at the county level by nomination of the county executive. However, it is an independent body, and I just wanted to make that notation for the record, and not making any judgment call one way or another as to utilities' responsibilities, but just the fact that it is an independent agency.
Thank you. As advertised, the Division of Open Space will make a presentation as part of a public hearing during tonight's meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, the purpose of which I will let the Division of Open Space Director, Adam Strobel, explain when the floor is yielded to him. May I have a motion to recess for the time period that open space public hearing is in effect, after which we will return to the freeholder agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
At this point in time, I recognize Open Space Director Adam Strobel, who shall make a presentation regarding these grant applications.
No, hold on.
environmentals. They're such a great project. Bring them back in.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for the introduction. Again, for background, my name is Adam Strobel with the Division of Open Space Land Management for the Department of Parks. We're here today before you to help conduct a public hearing on a grant application the Department of Parks will be submitting to the Department of DEP, Green Acres. Earlier this year, Green Acres provided opportunity for grants for park improvements and land acquisitions. What we have put together for tonight and for our application is a grant to help us restore a very popular spot along the Saddle River County Park known as the Wild Duck Pond in Ridgewood. It is a park area that is used heavily. This park area was one of the first park areas acquired by the county park system. County park system was created in 1947. This land was acquired by the Park Commission at the time in 1951 because of the opportunity to create a pond for public enjoyment. So it was sought for activities during the summer, not only for people to come enjoy, to be at the water's edge and having walking opportunities and other activities, but it also was a place for habitat for wild birds, ducks in particular, to come. And in the wintertime, it was turned into a ice skating rink. So it was a multifunctional type of activity. Those ice skating activities was unique in that it was probably the first park area that provided nighttime ice skating. That was the only first opportunity that was provided by the County Parks Commission at the time. The Wild Duck Pond has been in place since 1951 and even before. The pond is fed by the Saddle River, and over time there are various improvements that have been made to make sure that the water is naturally fed into the pond. There have been challenges over the course of time where there have been disconnects with the water coming to it. Pipes and other mechanical means have been used to provide water to that, but at times the park pond has not been filled. This past season, the pond was filled. That was to the benefit because of the amount of precipitation that there was. There's periods of time in which there is not, and you don't see the best optimal conditions. So what the Parks Department sought was to provide expertise that we can provide to help restore this area. We've tapped an environmental restoration firm known as Biohabitats, which the County Parks Department has used recently, asked them to look at how they can reconfigure the park area to feed the water, to provide some mechanical needs as a backup, as a redundant process, and to provide some habitat restoration, provide some new experiences and new opportunities at the lake itself, provide that better quality of environment for water quality, because this water flows through here, exits out, and then continues onto the Saddle River, which eventually gets to the Newark Bay. So it's part of the whole water ecosystem. So what I'd like to do at this moment, I have a gentleman from Biohabitats, Michael Spina, who has a couple of slides to kind of walk you through some concepts and directions, some visionary things, still not 100% exactly what we're doing, but the general direction is to provide a greater opportunity for this pond to function and to have an ecological way that is beneficial to the community. Thank you.
Thanks. My name is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Spina, S-P-I-N-A. Thank you, freeholders, for the opportunity to present our work. Again, my name is Michael Spina. I'm a landscape architect working for Biohabitats. We're an ecological design, planning, and engineering firm focused on restoring the earth and inspiring environmental stewardship. We've been working with Bergen County on this project, as Adam mentioned, with the goal of restoring both ecological function and enhanced public use of this site. So we believe Wild Duck Pond in its current state is a very special place where natural habitat and local recreation converge. And while there are many site amenities, such as the pond itself, there's a trail network, playgrounds and picnic areas that are well used. The ecological habitats are in severe need of restoration. And in particular, the hydrology of the site has been dramatically altered over time. Just a real quick history of what we know about some of these efforts. In the 1920s, the pond was constructed, and as part of that, a low-head dam was installed in the Saddle River to raise the local surface water levels and create a surface connection from the Saddle River to the pond, which was used at that time as an ice pond. Sometime later than that, that we don't quite know, that dam was removed. The remnants of the dam left a smaller riffle within the river, and that reduced the level of the Saddle River, and as well the surface connection from the river to the pond was also removed. In the 1990s, some pipes and pumps were installed to actually pump water from the Saddle River down into the pond. However, the installation of that system was situated such that there was regularly clogging and debris and detritus getting hung up on the intakes. And so in 2005, the river intake structure was relocated below the riffle, the former remnant of the Lowhead Dam. And as such, the water levels there were even lower, and there was still was an issue with a surface connection or pipe pump connection to the pond itself. And so in 2018, the county took some measures to lower and modify the intake structure in an attempt to maintain the former water elevations within the pond. And so just real quick, here's a map from 1902 showing there's no pond at the current Wild Duck Pond Park site. But in 1926, we can see that there is a pond there. And so Bergen County is working with Biohabitats, as well as the engineering firm WSP, which is formerly Lewis Berger, to perform some hydraulic modeling, look at the conditions, and recommend a plan to restore conditions at the pond. And so when we look at this kind of park situation, we don't want to just only look at the park, but also consider the fact that it's part of a much larger system. Here, Wild Duck Pond is very unique in its position within the larger Saddle River County Park system. This is a really valuable corridor for the Saddle River pathway, as well as a corridor for habitat that extends through Bergen County. Similarly, we can see Wild Duck Pond Park as in its location along Saddle River. Saddle River starts, its headwaters originate in New York State, and as they run southward toward Bergen County, the river cuts through a series of residential neighborhoods, commercial areas, cemeteries, small ponds, and parks. After the Wild Duck Pond area, the river feeds into Passaic River and eventually into Newark Bay. There's deciduous wetlands present on the site, which were delineated by New Jersey DEP in 2012. And the majority of the site falls within the 100-year floodplain, adding to its significance locally and encouraging the value of a robust ecosystem in this area. So the alterations to the site over time resulted in changes to the hydrology of the site. The loss of a surface level water connection and the puncturing of the pond's clay lining, or it's unclear that it's clay, but there was a lining, and that had been punctured, which lowered the overall pond water surface level and resulted in a significant reduction in overflow events that would naturally cycle the water through the pond and back into Saddle River. So the pond also currently experiences these nuisance algae blooms that you can see in the photos, and historically low water surface elevations reduce the ecological value within the pond aesthetic. The presence of the excessive nutrients are assumed to be primary cause of the algae blooms, while low surface water elevations limit the flushing of water through the pond back into Saddle River. Yes. Under the existing conditions, nutrients introduced to the pond accumulate within the pond without treatment or flushing. But this park also contains a variety of habitats, some of which occur naturally, some have been constructed, and some have been degraded over time. But we feel there are some valuable natural resources at this site which can be taken advantage of. There's also been some interest from other groups Rutgers University Center for Urban Environmental Sustainability had done a planning study and they had done a they had looked at a number of parks throughout Bergen County and looking at the existing conditions and recommending some initiatives as well. And so we took into account some actions for these parks, thinking about the network of the park system as a holistic system. And so we've looked at all of this work and synthesized these into a few design principles that we're using as we look to plan further improvements at the park. And these are to enhance existing open water and wetland areas, improve pond, to enhance existing open water and wetland areas, improve pond water quality through natural processes, increase opportunities for interactions with nature, encourage biodiversity, conserve existing natural resources, and upgrade existing park amenities. And following these goals, these objectives, we developed this concept plan, which contains both short and long-term phases. The area that's highlighted in the red dashed line is currently being designed, is under design as part of phase 1. The focus of the design in phase 1 is to mend the former hydrologic input to the pond, mend the former hydrologic input to the pond, repair the pond liner to improve the water levels, and enhance the overall habitat by introducing healthy wetland conditions and native species. The long-term elements include improved vehicular pedestrian circulation, upgraded recreation amenities, such as picnic areas, playground, bicycle trail hub, and a boardwalk. For the pond, the proposed design and future improvements to the maintenance practices will limit the introduction of additional nutrients from stormwater sources through a wetlands riffle system proposed within the existing drainage channel. And within the pond, we propose to increase water surface elevations through the installation of a 6-inch clay impermeable liner and provide treatment with the pond through a creation of wetland shelf area at the pond's edges. The proposed liner will allow for raising the water surface elevations back to the outlet elevation and allow water pumped back to the outlet elevation so that there's a flushing of the pond, so that these nutrients aren't just contained within that pond itself.
So the clay liner is for the whole pond? Or
Yes.
just the river?
No, for the pond. The clay liner is for the pond, correct. Thank you for clarifying. This is a rendering of the wetland shelf, which is approximately 20 to 40 foot wide strip of native freshwater wetland plantings along the edge of the pond that will help establish a more natural nutrient cycle within the pond. There's also the accommodation of a sandy beach that you can see sort of in the background of this rendering that allows continued open water access to residents. For the channel, as I mentioned, we propose to create a series of wetland pools and riffles within that existing drainage channel. This will improve the ecological habitat value of the site, as well as provide treatment of stormwater runoff from the adjacent residential drainage areas prior to entering Wild Duck Pond. And within the play area, we're recommending, this is part of the long-term concept I should mention, we've presenting here some inspirational images that show an accessible play area that has a nature-based theme. We're also looking at some inspiration for the bike hub area to create more of a destination at that trailhead for the rest of the Saddle River Park system, as well as ideas for environmental education and nature interpretation that can be integrated into the natural areas. So for the first phase, which is further along in development, we do have a proposed schedule that would have the project completion in the spring of 2020. This does depend on a number of factors. There is some permitting requirements, and the design process is still ongoing. So I would just caution to say that this is tentative, but this is what we are looking towards moving forward. I'd like to take any questions if you guys have them.
So this is a man-made pond,
Yes.
right? And did you consider whether it's worthwhile to keep it?
Yes.
Yeah.
The pond itself we found is actually supporting some ecological habitat, some ecological function. And it seems to be a very attractive amenity that draws a lot of people to the park. And for those reasons, we found that it would be valuable to restore and improve the conditions there.
And how do you keep all of the stuff from accumulating and blocking up the water flow?
So where that's been a problem in the past is primarily within Saddle River. And so our improved intake structure will consider that as a main design goal, is preventing that. And then within, like, if you're concerned, is also like debris coming like from down the channel and falling within the pond itself. We're also simultaneously recommending some maintenance practices. Currently, landscape debris is being dumped in the pond, which is a recommendation we're going to have. And also, the wetland system itself, once it is restored, will naturally cycle those nutrients, and so they will just become part of a robust ecosystem, and rather than a problematic nutrient that is overloading the system.
So will this maintenance, I'm sorry, just one last question. Will this maintenance require a lot of man-hours?
No, it should actually be reduced. We believe it will be reduced man-hours in the long term.
Freeholder Tonelli?
So just to Freeholder Amoroso's point is whether it's worthwhile upgrading the facility or not. Obviously, we talked when the Parks Committee met. It's also, the county has issues with flood waters and storm waters. This will be definitely enhanced the stormwater management in that area because it will give an opportunity for the water to, when it's on a high rise, it will give an opportunity to accommodate the water, correct?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. It provides, it continues to provide that, but obviously having better practices and better systems in place, it will be able to handle stormwater a lot more effectively than it is currently.
Freeholder Gans?
Thank you. What do you estimate the annual cost to maintain the duck pond?
I can say, we haven't looked at that very closely at the stage of design we're at now, but all of our design efforts have been leading towards an understanding of reduced maintenance efforts. This system will, once it is established, will not require the same level of maintenance as is currently the case.
What does it cost now?
I don't know exactly what that number is, but the design to be able to have the water flushing through the system will ensure that the water is moving through, and any debris that may be in there, any algae, anything else that's unsightly will be greatly reduced. But it's a great point, great question. We'll look at that, understanding what's the annual operating cost of what's being proposed versus what is being expended currently, but it's a great point. Thank you.
Freeholder.
Just a question, you
Sullivan?
said that will help flood waters. Is it being engineered or designed as a retention pond?
We're increasing capacity within the system, not within the pond, but within the wetland areas to retain water, for sure. Those wetlands will be depressional areas that in flooding situations will hold water. It's not the primary goal, but as an answer to your question, there is the capacity there for that within this design.
Would it be piped in or just natural resources?
Right now, our design is looking to shorten, it will be piped, but it's looking to shorten the pipe. And so the pipe right now is currently exists underground near the pond itself. Our proposal is to relocate that pump to an above-ground station, which will, again, will reduce maintenance issues and shorten that pipe length. And it will flow then through the surface connection, so it will improve the water quality as it makes its way down to the pond.
That's excellent. Good.
Thanks.
And I'm sure open space money has been talked about for this as well?
Yes.
In Green Acres?
Yes, Freeholders, you're absolutely right. The Open Space Trust Fund has set aside money for the project. We're looking for Green Acres dollars to supplement those dollars. As the county executive talked about in his budget presentation today, to provide any opportunity to supplement the county tax dollars. So we'll look for other grants to help us offset those costs.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentations. I'm really glad that we're addressing this now, because that park, I know it's been hasn't been looking too good these days, and I know it's a major hub, especially for bike riding, to connecting to the Saddle River Park and the trails. So I'm very happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If I may, just for a process, part of the public hearing is to take public comments. If I may ask indulgence, if you could ask for public comments,
Yes,
and
I will.
we'll try to answer any of
Thank
those that
you.
are presented. Thank you.
It is now time to hear from the public. The Green Acres public hearing is now open with a 5-minute time limit for individuals to speak about tonight's Green Acres grant applications. At this time, the board attorney will keep the time. When the time of the speaker expires, the timekeeper will announce the time has expired. Please fill out the slip of paper with your name and address and which of the applications you wish to speak on.
There's only two people.
Yeah,
Miss,
you can just come up,
just come up and put
Corinne.
and say your name and your.
Hi, Corinne Murphy. I have to spell it. Corinne, Carinne, and Murphy, Carinne, Murphy, Murphy. And my address, 226 Doxey Drive, Park Ridge, New Jersey. I just had a question. If we have several known, very recent contaminated sites in other local towns, including Upper Saddle River, and I just want to know if the Saddle River waterways have been affected by that particular contamination in Upper Saddle River.
I would just answer, I do not know any information about that or any connection. Parks Department has not received any indication that there's any contamination in any of our park areas.
We've done some preliminary analysis and review and have not come across any known issue affecting the Saddle River water quality known to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Lento, Cliffside Park, New Jersey. I live in Cliffside Park, but I've visited this park many, many times over the years. I had a good friend in Ridgewood, and who I would, over like maybe a 10, 15-year period, go up and visit with, and he just lived a few blocks from one of the entrances to the park, and I would spend hours walking and talking, and this guy was skateboarding, and I can tell you that when the weather is even cold and not nice, there are people there, and when the weather is nice, there are thousands of people of all ages who enjoy that park. So it's not just a matter of enjoyment of the people, which is important. I mean, that's great. But the ecological, the way I understand what these gentlemen are talking about, this is actually good in terms of flooding being less and the whole system. So for what it's worth, my 2 cents is whatever they need, as long as it's reasonable and we can afford it, you should give it to them. Thank you.
Good for the,
Thank
good for
you.
the environment.
And it comes from Green Acres.
Thanks for staying
France.
too, Mr. Lento.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Are there any more public comments? May I have a motion to resume our regular business?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Will the clerk read the resolutions on the consent agenda?
Resolutions of consent are 23319 through 29719.
May I have a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda as read by the clerk?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call, please.
Vice Chairwoman Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yep.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zur is absent. Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
With 6 ayes, the consent agenda passes.
Are there any resolutions, non-consent, pulled, or tabled? If so, will the clerk please read?
There are none.
We will now go on to our ordinances for first reading and introduction. Ordinances 19-07 and 19-08. I'm sorry. Will the clerk read our first ordinance, 1907, by title only?
1907 is a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements of the Bergen County Community College in and by the County of Bergen, appropriating the aggregate amount of $8,100,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $8,100,000 bonds or notes of the county entitled to the benefits of Chapter 12 of the County College Bond Act to finance the cost thereof.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1907 as read by the clerk?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Vice Chairwoman Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zur is absent. Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
With 6 ayes, 1907 passes first reading.
Will the clerk read our next ordinance, ordinance 1908, by title only?
1908 is a bond ordinance providing for adaptive signal system improvements for the County of Bergen, appropriating the aggregate amount of $3,250,000 therefore, including a grant in the amount of $3,045,000 expected to be received from the State Department of Transportation, and authorizing the issuance of $195,000 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the cost thereof.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1908 as read by the clerk?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Vice Chairwoman Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zur is absent. Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
With 6 ayes, 1908 does pass first reading.
We will now go on to our ordinances for second reading and adoption, ordinances 1903, 04, and 05. Will the clerk read ordinance 1903 by title only?
Ordinance 1903 is a bond ordinance providing for various roadway improvements throughout the County of Bergen, appropriating the aggregate amount of $1 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $952,000 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the cost thereof. The proof of publication of the ordinance notice of public hearing was published in accordance with the law and is on file in my office. A copy of the notice of hearing and ordinance number 1903 was duly posted pursuant to NJSA 40A:2-17 on Friday, March 1st, 2019.
May I have a motion to open the hearing on ordinance 1903 to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is open with a 5-minute time limit in effect to speak about ordinance 1903 only at this time. The board attorney will keep the time. May I have a sorry, there's nobody here. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 1903?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there any board discussion on ordinance 1903? May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1903 as read by the clerk?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Vice Chairwoman Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zur is absent. Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
With 6 ayes, 1903 is adopted and passes second reading.
Will the clerk read ordinance 1904 by title only?
Ordinance 1904 is a bond ordinance amending sections 3 and 6 of bond ordinance number 1618 of the County of Bergen, finally adopted on September 7th, 2016, in order to revise the project description referred to therein. The proof of publication of the notice of public hearing was published in accordance with the law and is on file in my office. A copy of the notice of hearing and ordinance number 1903 was duly posted pursuant to NJSA 40A:2-17 on Friday, March 1st, 2019.
So moved.
May I have a motion to open the hearing on ordinance 1904 to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is open with the 5-minute time limit in effect to speak on ordinance 1904 only at this time. The board attorney will keep the time. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance?
See, no one to make a motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any board discussion on ordinance 1904? May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1904 as was read by the clerk?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tinelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zer is absent. Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
With 6 ayes, 1906 is adopted and passes second read.
Will the clerk read ordinance 1905 by title only?
Ordinance 1905 is a bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of 103 Hudson Street in the city of Hackensack and various capital improvements hereto by the County of Bergen, appropriating the aggregate amount of $2,200,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,095,000 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the cost thereof. The proof of publication and the ordinance notice of public hearing was published in accordance with the law and is on file in my office. A copy of the notice of hearing and ordinance number 1905 was duly posted pursuant to NJSA 40A 2:2-17 on Tuesday, March 12th, 2019.
May I have a motion to open the hearing on ordinance 1905 to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open with the 5-minute time limit in effect to speak about ordinance 1905 only at this time. The board attorney will keep the time. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on
See,
ordinance
no one, I
1905?
make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any board discussion on ordinance 1905?
Chairwoman, I just want to point out that this is part of Bergen County's practice of looking at our leases and seeing whether we could save money by buying the property outright, and it's a good thing.
It really is, and we're always looking out to see where we can cut our costs, and especially in a building
Yeah.
that we love to
We
attend, our
love,
seniors.
we love that, Unidas, yeah.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1905 as was read by the clerk?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tinelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zer is absent. Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
With 6 ayes, 1905 is adopted and passes second reading.
We will now have the Freeholder Committee reports. Freeholder Boss?
Okay. I am always going around to tell people about the wonderful things that the county does. And one of the things that we discussed is the homeowner dream ownership, home ownership. And Mary and I attended a program, and there are about 90 people, I think, at this point in time who are eligible. And I think owning a home is about the most wonderful thing that can happen to any family. We also had the Bergen County Self-Care Fair, and this was basically a group of people, but a lot of the, I think the animal shelter brought puppies and kittens. And I have to say from personal experience that if you want to feel tranquil and unstressed, get yourself a pet, preferably a cat, but dogs are really good too. And this was wonderful, and our animal shelter that does wonderful things. Mary and I actually went up to see, this is Women's Month, okay? And Habitat for Humanity is a fantastic organization, and it exists in 70 countries, but here in the United States, because it's Women's Month, the Habitat for Humanity was building 4 units, 2 for senior citizens and 2 for disabled people, and it was all being built by women. And it was really wonderful, and you know, women can do anything if they set their minds to it. one of the things, I'm very much involved in education, and we had here the Bergen County Consumer Bowl, and this is like Jeopardy. This is great. And we protect all of the consumers in our county, and it's wonderful to see young people really understand how to protect and what their rights are. And this was really, really a fun afternoon. And I think for the second time in a row, Rutherford, I believe, won the Consumer Bowl. And so they're going to be doing this every year. All of us, I think, I guess every one of us, participated in Read Across America, okay? And this is so much fun to go in and see the children, whether they're preschoolers or all the way up into middle school. You know, reading is probably the most wonderful thing you can ever learn. Whenever I go to a class, I go, what's the most important thing you can learn in school? And the answer is reading, and reading opens up the world to everybody. Of course, this was sort of Irish Heritage Month, and all of us participated in parades. We had the parade in Rutherford, we had the parade in Bergenfield, and all kinds of wonderful activities concerning Irish heritage. And it was, I've eaten so much corned beef in Canada, I can't see it. But one of the things I also want is that we have tremendous veteran services here in the county. And one of the things we're very proud of is that we don't have any homeless veterans here in Bergen County. And I belong to the Rotary, which is a wonderful organization. And on April the 12th, we are going to be honoring A.J. Luna, who has helped me many, many times to help veterans. And it's being sponsored by my Rotary Club, and if anybody's interested, the tickets are $50, and I have them in my purse. And A.J. is just a terrific young man. And you know, as I said, he has helped so many. I just want to comment for a moment, because we had a moment of silence for Dr. Alan Sugarman, who was a wonderful man. He was the superintendent of schools in Fort Lee, and I worked with him for over 20 years, and he did so much for education, so much for our school district. It was, at one point, one of the top 10 schools under his leadership in the state. And he passed away a few days ago at the age of 94, and he has left a tremendous legacy, and I just wanted to call attention to the fact that, you know, he was a man who contributed much to education, which, of course, is my passion in life. And the other day, we went, Jermaine and I were at Fort Lee High School because Governor Murphy came, and I'm very happy to say that our governor is restoring funding for schools. And so he had a press conference, and I was very happy that my school was getting 100% of its funding. And of course, Congressman Pascro was there, and County Executive Tedesco was there, and it was just a really wonderful thing that we're really getting our priorities straight and making education forefront of our spending. And I believe that's it for now.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Sullivan?
Thank you. There's no such thing as too much corned beef, John, just so you know. I just want to start off in saying, talking about shared services. In the last 6 weeks, the Freeholder Board has continued its mission to bring savings to the taxpayer as we pass multiple shared service resolutions. For example, the Borough of Hohokus, Borough of Oakland, Borough of Waldwick, and Hackensack Board of Ed each entered into an agreement for vehicle maintenance and repair service, as well as short-term rental of a county-owned street sweeper. Also, the Division of Health Services entered into a shared service agreement for the Employee Assistance Program. These agreements are what keeps our taxes stable without sacrificing quality services to our communities. On some state news, I attended Governor Murphy's budget address 2 weeks ago, and I'm hopeful that this budget will be a step forward for all of New Jersey. Following up on the address, Governor Murphy was in Bergen County the next day at the Westmont Station in Woodridge to promise his increase in funding for New Jersey Transit, which is so vital for those in Bergen County who want to maintain the value of their homes, and I applaud him for that move. The more transportation, the better. In county news, I want to commend our county executive for a State of the County speech a few weeks ago. I look forward to partnering with him to continue to improve the lives of all the residents going forward. On February the 15th, I nominated Montvale Special Police Officer Roger Karen for the Russ Berry Making a Difference Award, sponsored by Ramapo College. Officer Karen saved the life of a choking student at Pascack Hills High School in April of 2018, and I wish him the best of luck after being selected as a finalist for the award. In Bergen County Winter Sports, I want to offer congratulations to Don Bosco Hockey for winning the New Jersey non-public state title, finishing as the #1 team in New Jersey. Bergen County Wrestling for winning their 8th straight New Jersey non-public state title, and finishing as the #1 team in New Jersey. North Arlington High School Bowling Team for capturing the boys' state championship. Obviously, Tonelli was not a coach on that team. And with March being Women's History Month, some history was made 2 weeks ago. Teaneck High School's Erin Emery became the first ever female New Jersey high school wrestling state champion. This is the first season of the girls' wrestling in state history, and I'm happy to see her bring home the title to Bergen County. It's wonderful to see all our athletes in Bergen County bringing home championships. We talked about the St. Patrick's Day Parade. We all attended. I was honored to do the closing remarks at the Irish flag raising. And that's about it, with the exception of, at our last meeting, I was a little remiss, or you probably couldn't hear it with all the people that were here. At the last meeting on March the 6th was my 25th wedding anniversary, and I want to say happy anniversary belated to my wife, who puts up with all I do for Bergen County, what we do every single day. All the freeholders will tell you how much of a commitment it is, and without a steady wife at home, it wouldn't be possible. So thank you, babe, on 25 years, and I don't know how you did it, okay? But that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Tonelli?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Well, first, I'd like to congratulate Fairleigh Dickinson's men's basketball team, who won the Northeast Conference Tournament and are actually playing their NCAA game right now with 18 seconds left, and they're winning 80-76. So we're pulling that they get through the first round. Many of us attended, if not all of us, numerous parades. I just wanted to congratulate Rutherford for their second annual. It seems to get bigger and bigger. One of the posts I made was it's nice to see one bagpipe group, but they had 7.
Wow.
So it just keeps getting larger and larger. It seems to be the destination instead of people going south down to Belmar. Anyway, I want to congratulate the Bergen County Film Festival, who we had a gentleman here tonight who they had their gala here in the Bergen County Plaza, and then they also had 2 screenings on Saturday and Sunday in Teaneck. Seems to be really well received in Bergen County. Everyone up here always talks about the arts and parks and quality of life. It all adds to a better and happier resident of Bergen County. Tonight we received a presentation of the budget from the county executive. I would just like to thank County Executive Jim Tedesco and the administration for delivering another responsible budget, and we all appreciate the open, transparent partnership with this board that he's displayed since he took office. We all look forward to going department by department like we always do, but I'm sure, like the last few years, he's really delivered a trim budget to us. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Gans?
Thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman. Like many members of the board, I participated in Read Across America. I went to 4 different schools in Hackensack and Cliffside, and it really was a lot of fun. We thought for a while we were going to do it in Spanish and English, but it turned out that not enough children spoke Spanish to do it, and we thus did the entire presentation in English. They called me abuesito, which is a fond endearance for grandpa. And I have to say, this is the first year that I read as many books. 4 different classrooms, and it really was, it was a very intense and very nice experience. The budget is going to start in earnest on Monday. We will have 21 separate hearings that are going to take place, and the purpose of this is to go through each of the major departments and to see whether it's appropriate to increase, decrease, or to stay the same, the recommendations of the county executive. The county executive has assured cooperation with this and says that any paperwork that we need or desire to assist us in the process, they are happy to supply them, and he asked for personal knowledge. If this year, if you are unable to break away from your job or from other responsibilities, you will be able to phone in as part of the budget process. We used this rather successfully last year, and to the extent that we need to do so, we will accommodate you this year. I'm not going to give the Bergen Wellness presentation tonight, but I will wish everybody a happy Easter, happy Passover, and everybody on the board and elsewhere, a jolly good night.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Amoroso.
Jolly, jolly. I participated in Read Across America, too, with third graders in Lodi. Unfortunately, I insulted the Cat in the Hat character when I asked if he was Thing 1 or Thing 2.
Oh, my God.
Oh, dear. We also, last week, got to know your characters. What?
Was the Cat in the Hat answering you back?
So he gave me one of these. Last week, we met the Greek Attorney General, whose name is Zeni Dimitriou, when she came to visit Bergen County Sheriff Anthony Curitan. She was very interested in how we cope with the opioid epidemic, which I guess is a big deal in Greece, too.
Wow.
Our hearts go out to those who lost their lives or were injured in New Zealand last week. Again, we have to face the consequences of hate abetted by guns. The world we live in requires us to protect ourselves and our children by being proactive and planning for potential active shooter situations. That's why I was very proud last week to stand with members of the prosecutor's office and other law enforcement and mental health professionals when we released the Bergen County School Safety Task Force report. Some of the elements, this is a report that focuses on best practices all schools can do to reduce the risks of active shooter situations or inactive shooter situations. Some of the elements in the report include maximizing physical security in school buildings, monitoring mental health red flags among students, very touchy area, but something we have to focus on, and the training of all Bergen school personnel, from teachers to cafeteria workers to custodians. Now, tonight, we approved Resolution 267 to provide $162,500 for the Live Safe application for students and parents in all of our schools in Bergen County. This app, which can easily be downloaded, allows both students and parents to report anonymously other students making threats or bullying incidents. It can all be done anonymously. And we want all schools in Bergen to participate in this application and also to send their personnel for the prosecutor's 3 free trainings. It's very important, and everybody should reach out to the prosecutor, get the link for the report, and work with us to minimize the problem or the potential for active shooter situations. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Freeholder. We had several, I know we all had several events. Right here at the county, we celebrated Lunar New Year, which we had to postpone due to inclement weather, so we celebrated in March. It's better late, but we had a wonderful time. We had great speakers. We honored several people of the Asian community here in Bergen County, and we had wonderful performances and, of course, delicious food as usual. I also participated in Read Across America. I actually went to Garfield for Head Start. There were 4-year-olds, which were absolutely adorable. They were so cute. They had made their own cat in the hat hats. It was adorable. I took a picture with them. I also had the honor to speak at Bergen Community College as they kicked off Women's Month in March, and I was their speaker to kick it off. And I think it was about women at work, so they were honoring a lot of the women that have participated throughout the years and in their work in regard, even their professors, a lot of the students, and they were bringing in a lot of different women throughout the county and throughout the state to speak. So I was very honored to be part of that. I also attended CASA, which is the court-appointed Special Advocates for Children, and they gave 3 awards. They call it the Angel Awards at the casino night, which is one of their biggest fundraisers since all of CASA is all volunteer. So it was very nice to be there and celebrate. Pat Battle from Channel 4 News was the MC. She did a wonderful job. Zonia Lasana, a good friend of ours, who also works at the county, she is the chairwoman. She did absolutely great job with the event. And the 3 women honored were Suzanne Curry, who was the previous chairwoman, Karen Kazidlo, and Deborah Gaston. And it was definitely a great night, and just for them to be the voice of our voiceless children and to be there for them. It was just a wonderful evening just to hear the stories and how much they have touched the lives of so many people and how many people have adopted even through the program. So I thank them. And I also wanted to thank the county executive, the administration, and everyone that took part in putting the budget together. I'm very pleased. I couldn't believe they were able to keep it under the COLA, and that we are looking forward to starting our budget hearings next week, headed by Freeholder Gans and by everyone on this board, because one thing that we all do on this Freeholder board is participate on our budget. And I'm very thankful that we're all going to be working together, and we'll be having a very busy next 2 to 3 weeks. But I just thank for everyone to put it together, and to the county executive and to everyone, because it really takes a village to get this budget together. So I will keep it short. Thank you so much for everything and for everyone here tonight. And there being nothing further to come before this meeting, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 8:53 p.m.